Time, Site and Law er et projekt under kultursamarbejdet i Midt- og Vestjyllands Festival Offroad i foråret 2017. Det er et samarbejde mellem 4 kulturhistoriske museer, 5 midt- og vestjyske lokaliteter, 5 internationale samtidskunstnere og foreningen ET4U omkring en kunstnerisk tolkning af 5 udvalgte museumsgenstande. Time, Site and Law er et selvstændigt projekt under ET4U's 4-årige video- og performanceprojekt Meetings.
And we want to show contemporary art, so we couldn't really call it a art hall like in Germany and Kunsthal, because it was a very tiny little place. It was not. so we call it exhibition, and in Danish exhibitions it's udstilling. Okay. And in front of that you have to put one, which in Danish it. So if you take the front letter in these words, en Tangsøgade, 4 udstilling, ET4U.
My name is Gunilla Josephson. I'm a Swedish artist living in Canada since a long time. And my project here for the ET4U is a find of 48 glass beads that somehow arrived from Mesopotamia 3,000 years ago. Yesterday I went with Jesper from the Stora Museum, who's the director there, I think. But the pigment that you would color a stone like that with would be a very, very expensive pigment.
And there's a bronze sword on.
Oh, it has such a innocuous or bad position.
It's just found together with some gold arm wings.
That is fantastic that it just sits there and be in among these other objects. The priest of the Hamlum Church to visit the church first and go to the area where the pearls were found, which is a small forest, and then they visited the wonderful church of Hamlum, which is a really beautiful Protestant church that was inspired me to think that we could probably screen my video in the church. I think will be appropriate.
So my name is Bassem Yusri, and my topic is the wardrobe man in the Struer Museum. So yesterday was a day full of stories about this wardrobe man. My mentors took me to the locations where he set his wardrobe and lived in it, and then where he moved. We went to the museum, looked at the movie that had some clips of him. You know, you have the archival footage of the man and the photographs and the story and some people who know him. But when you actually go to the place where his wardrobe was and then his little cottage was, you say it's somewhere, it used to be somewhere over there. So I find it funny that we actually have no clue where exactly it was. There's nothing physical that remained from the guy, and it's not actually a very old history, it's very recent. And as I told you, I'm used to seeing big colossus and and then you don't just say it used to be somewhere around here. It's actually right there in front. You can see something that, yeah, the history tells you stories about, but you can see the physical thing. So that's also a very it's a very not frustrating, but it's kind of funny to deal with history without having physical proof all the time. It's actually nice to have a house where we hang out at night. Yesterday was not the perfect, last night was not the perfect night, but mainly because I was too tired. I wasn't sleeping at all the previous night, and then when we arrived the heat was not on, so that was a bit scary because I thought I would freeze to death at night. Making art is about having conversation with the viewer. So I make art to start a conversation, to tell you, to expose my ideas.
Hi, my name is Jiji Skaria. I'm from India. I am based in Delhi. I'm so excited to be a part of this particular project where Karen and Klaus have invited me to. For me, it's some of the ideas which we normally think that we are excited about, but never could be done unless there is an effort which is made, and that is what happening here. So I am connected with the museum called Yale Hill, and a farmhouse which is Shurgon was given to me to work with. In the farmhouse, you see the almost like a microcosm of the whole life when it moves in from one section to another, and you see everything what you see in a civilization which is preserved and prescribed, and as well as taken into a daily or everyday account. Everything was there in a section and an order which you travel from one room to another, you see different things, and the knitting and daily use objects, which is obviously was in a way much intelligent and primitive form. At the same time, you could see that from that the new designs have been born. So I was so fascinated to see these details in different sections of the house. Yesterday was, the day before was so fine a day. Then yesterday I didn't take much precaution, but I went out. Then I experienced extremely chilling weather outside, and I couldn't stand for a long. Though I walked around and shoot a bit, but the intention was to make a video around the house was not done because of too much of. I think for me art is a specific or an alternate way of thinking. So I would sum up it in a very different way. Obviously it involves quite a lot of observation, reflection and recreation of many things which we see, but ultimately I think it's also about perspective which you are contributing, or you are kind of taking it out from your own time and social spaces and put it out there for others to have a look at and see whether my perspective is something which is also relevant in order to understand the world the way it is.
My name is Sadiq Quaish Al-Faraji. I am an Iraqi Dutch visual artist living and work in Netherlands. I'm here to do a project in the topic of refugee camp, German refugee camp, which is in the museum Lemvi. I'm also a refugee, so yeah, I was a refugee. I like it, and I told Klaus that this is a wonderful idea. So when I came here and saw the material in the museum, I really surprised, because it is so beautiful material. Yes, it is very simple. It's not so much, but it is really beautiful and somehow poetic. The small things that read it to me and translated was by Inga, the wonderful woman working in the museum. She helped me a lot. She translated to me few of pages, and it is really poetic. I made a lot of photos. I just discovered today that I have made 1,300 around, so, or 1,260 photos. So I'm so glad and so honored to work with people here in this beautiful place, which is magical place actually. Very kind people. It's so beautiful, the landscape. People are so nice. In the hospital of the camp, refugee camp, The hospital, of course, is empty, and it is since 1940 or 47, and it is just in the heart of a jungle. Okay, it was very difficult to reach it, very difficult because it's walk, very crowd of trees and so, and there it was so amazing place. There is an idea to show the video in the hospital. What makes think an art piece? This question actually has no answer. It's I don't know what is it, really. But in all cases, art means to me my vision.
My name is Yuval Yairi. I'm from Jerusalem, Israel. I'm an artist, usually working in photography and video. My project here is around an old ore that has been out of service since I think 1908, when the engine ferry starting operating, and this ore was lost for a few years, and since 1990 I think it's in the Museum of Fur. So my idea was to do something with the ore, like taking it out of the island, cross to the mainland, and then I'm planning to do the other half of the video in Israel by taking making a replica of the ore and taking it to the desert in Israel. That's the plan. I'm still not sure that this is what's going to happen eventually. The problem was how to show, how to film this crossing of the ore to the mainland from the island. And with the help of local citizens from the island, we managed to get two boats, one rowboat and one small engine boat. And this way we could have different angles of the process of crossing the water. It surprised me, first of all, about myself. I was surprised that in such a short time I managed to come up with an idea and to get it through also. Because usually I work very slowly, and this was a very limited time. So only because of this help of the people and of the community that I was able to do that. Getting two boats and getting access to the ferry as much as I wanted. It wasn't that obvious, so it was kind of a surprise that I succeeded in doing what I was planning to do. It's impossible to define art, but art is somehow a transformation of life into another dimension. Yeah, it is quite unique, you know. Also, even though each one of us had his own project, but being in the same place, staying here at nights and talking about it in the morning on breakfast, it has something much more than what you usually, as an artist, that you work by yourself at home or at the studio. And this way, this interaction gives it another dimension to working.
Altså, vi er gået med i det her projekt, fordi det tager udgangspunkt i sådan noget, som for os som museum er det allermest relevante, nemlig genstandene. Det er det, der er omdrejningspunktet. Det er den her genstand, som er i vores samling, som kunstneren skal forholde sig til. Og så er det jo interessant for os at se, jamen, kan de her genstande noget sådan ude i samfundet, og hvordan giver de mening for andre at se på. Det er rigtig interessant for os at få et blik udefra på.
Vi har inviteret 5 spændende kunstnere. Alle med en meget anderledes baggrund end den midt- og vestjyske. På et meget kort og komprimeret arbejdsophold. Og ideen med projektet, det er at udfordre dels museernes faktuelle viden og deres traditionelle måde at fortolke den på. Dels den betydning, som museumsgenstandene har på de lokaliteter, hvor de i sin tid er fundet. Og dels kunstnernes sædvanlige arbejdsmetoder og praksiser. Vi glæder os rigtig meget til at se de 5 videoer, som det er meningen, der skal komme ud af Time, Site and Law.